Hey guys, today we're going to be doing something a little different, a ranking video. I haven't really done a ranking video at all, so today is going to be a first to do a ranking video. Now you're probably wondering, what will this ranking video be on? The Marvel freaking cinematic freaking universe. Everyone loves Marvel. Who doesn't? The franchise, all the superheroes, the villains, everything about it's just dope as hell or whatever. Today we're going to be ranking the last 11 Marvel Cinematic Universe movies from Phase 3. You're probably wondering why not do all 3 phases in one, because that's just too much, honestly. So I'll be ranking from Phase 3 of all of Phase 3 MCU movies ranked. And that will also include a small review of Spider-Man Far From Home. I saw that movie, so I'll talk about that movie as well. So be ready to see it. And yeah, guess we gotta get this list started. At number 11, we have Doctor Strange. The reason Doctor Strange is the highest is because this movie is good at one point, but the problem with it is going by the fact that Doctor Strange focuses a little bit too much on the hero and all that. He's literally called Doctor Strange. You know how some superheroes just make up their name? Literally, his name is literally Doctor Strange. And actually, his full name is Dr. Stephen Strange, but still. Another thing is his powers. He has the ability to make portals and all that. That's pretty cool at that. But we've seen stuff like that before. Another goes by, the villain's a little old now. I mean, he's fine. He was a pretty cool villain when I first saw this movie, but he's starting to get a little too old, and his powers are starting to feel a little less cool than they originally were the first time we all saw this movie. I like Doctor Strange and all. It's just that there are things about this movie that can be justified a little bit. Regardless of that, though, this movie still is pretty good for what it is, and I'll accept everything. Benedict Cumberbatch's performance is pretty good at that, too. Number 10 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. This is a sequel to the original Guardians of the Galaxy, and my god, is the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise so good. I already talked about the original in my list of best movie of each year, so let's get to the second one. The second one, in my opinion, isn't as great as the first one, but still puts up a good idea. This movie has comedy, it has nice stuff, and a very cool villain. And all of this stuff they put in the movie is all made pretty well. The new ones, too. We got really cool newcomer, like we got Nebula. She's pretty cool. And then there's Yondu, who had less in this movie. But then there's also Mantis. Mantis is horrible. She's a horrible character. The villain is pretty cool. It's Ego, who is literally a human, who literally is known as a giant moon and everything. The movie is so cool, it's so funny, and so interestingly made that it's kind of hard to not think of this movie the way I think of it. Does anyone know the way I think of it? I think of it as a nice MCU comedy and all that. And that's just saying a lot for this list. Number 9 is Ant-Man and the Wasp. This movie is an okay sequel. Not only do they put in a performance for this movie, but it has a good follow-up. Paul Rudd's performance as Ant-Man is pretty good. For all the other comedy movies he's been in, this has to be his most memorable comedy by today's standards. Every other character they added to this movie was fine in that. It's just, these Marvel movies nowadays, they gotta add more action to it. That's what they did here. They added a lot of action. The reason it's at number 9 and not somewhere lower on the list is because Ant-Man and the Wasp is a little bit too much for its movie. I mean, it's not as good as the original Ant-Man movie, which you'll see on this list soon. Oh wait, no you won't, because this is Phase 3 and everything. Ant-Man and the Wasp is a really good movie, just not as good. And maybe it would have been better if they would have at least put in everything the original had to us. Regardless of that, though, this movie is still fine at that. Just not something I would consider better. Number 8 is Captain Marvel. And finally, we have our newest MCU superhero, Captain Marvel. She is pretty cool. Okay, she is one of those famous superheroes who literally fight in space. We don't see a lot of MCU heroes fight in space, except for her. She is nice and everything, and her movie is fine too. I'm just saying, Captain Marvel couldn't possibly be an incredible movie. It's really good, it's really cool. It's just that there are things about this movie that isn't seen in the other MCU movies that are going to be on this lower on this list. I mean, I like Brian Lawrence's performance, but there's also a performance in this movie that just kind of gets me. Like this movie taught us how Nick Fury got his eye. You want to know how he got his eye? A cat scratched his eye. Isn't that something? Or how about the fact that we have those aliens who look like they were the villains, instead we have another villain, huh? How about the fact that this whole movie focuses a little bit too much on family matters and all that? There are a lot of action sequences too, it's just Marvel, you know? Overall, this is a pretty good movie. Just there are these other ones we're going to mention here. Number 7 is Thor Ragnarok. This has to be the best one out of all the Thor movies. The original Thor movie was okay a little bit. The second Thor movie was pretty bad. This one is dope, okay? I mean, seriously though. They gave us the Thor movie with the Hulk. The other two Thor movies didn't have the Hulk. And he literally is awesome in this movie. Thor is awesome in this movie. I mean, remember that his hair got cut off, now he has short hair? Or the fact that Loki's still in the movie and he's actually being somewhat not as evil. Or our new villain, Hela, who's pretty hot at that, you know? The movie is a lot to us, okay? A lot of stuff is given to us in this movie. And the stuff that is given to us is great. The stuff that this movie doesn't give to us is not really that big of a problem. The problem with this movie is the fact that it's a little too covered there, because it feels like the other four movies, except cooler, and it has this kind of the same locations as the other four movies did. Except Earth. We don't really see locations in Earth as much in this movie. Number 6 is Black Panther. Black Panther, a lot of people call Black Panther to be the best Marvel movie there is. It's actually the highest grossing Marvel movie since Infinity War and Endgame. Black Panther actually was the one who got the Academy Award for performance and action, and not Infinity War. Regardless of that though, I don't really care. Black Panther is so good, okay? It has nice locations, very nice characters, and everything presented in this movie is great. And I love the performance of Chadwick Boseman playing Black Panther. He has a great performance and everything. Black Panther has to be probably one of my favorite Marvel superheroes out of them all because of all the stuff he can do. He has those big claws like the Wolverine. He has a very cool suit and all that stuff. While there's really just one location in this movie, Wakanda, they also added locations somewhere in Earth and everything. And that location in Earth's taken fine. Every location is perfect. Every character's perfect. Even the villain is perfect. This movie's perfect enough that I feel like I'm just running out of things to talk about in Black Panther. Number 5 is Spider-Man: Far From Home. Now let's get to this review. This movie was good and all that stuff. The story follows Spider-Man, who goes on vacation. He has a tough time considering he knows that his friend Iron Man passed away in Endgame, and it turns out he has to live with it. So when he goes on vacation, it turns out that Nick Fury needs him, and so does this guy named Mysterio. They need him to help save the world because of the evil that's happened. So Spider-Man has to save the world while also getting a girl. When apparently turns out the girl actually knows he's Spider-Man, and all that happens and everything. And Mysterio, well, when he saves the world, everyone seems to find him to be a better Spider-Man and everything. Spider-Man even gets this cool new suit, black suit, which is nice. And he has trouble with the fighting and the romance and everything. But it turns out Mysterio's a fraud, so they have to catch him because he is very evil. And you get a huge fight, and it's a huge fight. So at the end, the day is saved and everything. Is there a post-credit scene? There is. Is there a Stan Lee cameo? No. But hey, the post-credit scene just follows J. Jonah Jameson, who was in it. Like, my God, that's incredible. Tells us that he's Spider-Man. Wow. He finally revealed his secret. Wow. This movie's good, but the reason it's not somewhere at number 3 or lower is because it has too much romance in it, which it really shouldn't. Number 4 is Captain America Civil War. Okay, this is basically just Avengers 3.0. You remember how Avengers had the Avengers versus Loki and its bad guys? This has Cap's crew versus Iron Man's crew. It's like the war battle of all time. It's kind of basically just similar to Batman versus Superman, which came out the same year. But Batman versus Superman was garbage, okay? That movie didn't have fun stuff and everything. This movie does. Cap versus Iron Man, Black Widow versus Falcon, Scarlet Witch versus War Machine, Vision versus Bucky, Hawkeye versus Black Panther, Ant-Man versus Spider-Man. The whole battle is just huge. I mean, the movie is presented so well, so different than any other Marvel fighting movie because it's just it's superheroes fighting each other. And we don't see that in any other Marvel movie but this. Like, it's so cool. Well, basically only takes place in the airport. I mean, it must cost a lot of money to get the location in that airport because the battle is dope. A lot, okay? I mean, if I had a nickel for every time this movie threw in some good punches, I'd probably just fill up my piggy bank high, real high. I love this movie. Everyone loves it. I don't know a single person in this world who doesn't. Number 3 is Avengers Infinity War. A lot of people are going to say, number 3, are you serious? Well, yes, I'm serious. Look, Avengers Infinity War is cool. It has some good fighting scenes, some nice stuff. The reason it's number 3 is because all that nice stuff always needs a problem. Thanos actually won at the end. We are expecting to see the battle conclude with Thanos losing, but it turns out Thanos actually won after all that. It's kind of a waste of a fight if you think about it. In fact, Thanos was close. I mean, they really had him where they wanted him. They were about to win. Star was actually the main reason they lost. He just slapped Thanos, and that actually loosened it up. Okay, like literally, basically he finally got it off. It was all hooray, but then Star was just hitting. It's like what? No, ah. The fights are awesome. The comedy's good. The characters are well done. I love how this is a crossover with every Marvel Cinematic Universe character ever. They did disclude Ant-Man and Hawkeye for some reason. I have no idea why. They were doing nothing wrong. But this movie still looks pretty cool. And it has some very, very neat stuff in it. Number 2 is Homecoming. You are pissed off, aren't you? You see, Spider-Man Homecoming is based off a superhero who's my favorite out of everyone. Spider-Man's my favorite Marvel hero because he's the youngest, which is nice. He has some cool webs, which is nice. I like his suits, and I love his style, and all of its movies too. I mean, where do we go? This movie has a lot of good stuff. It's comedy, action, high school difficulties, and so much more. And all of that was presented like no other Marvel movie would. I mean, it's literally about Spider-Man who is a chance of the Avenger. Isn't that something? Now, what you're going to say, what was that? Look, I have people calling me, okay? Stuff happens. Anyway, this movie literally is probably really fun. This is actually could be considered my all-time favorite Marvel movie of all time, but there is one that takes the cake out of them all. Avengers Endgame. In my opinion, Avengers Endgame is the best Marvel movie of all time. Literally though, Thanos killed almost everyone. He destroyed half the universe. And the rest of the superheroes have to stop him. This whole movie's just them stopping Thanos. There's no romance sequences. There's no bad sequences. The only sequence they have in this movie is the sequence of battle, and that's what Marvel is great at. I love that. I love the time traveling story. They time travel to other Marvel's shit that happens, and they have to stop. That's pretty cool. Also love a lot how they actually finally bring us Ant-Man and Hawkeye, who for some reason were left out in Infinity War, and I still don't know why, but it's all nice and everything. So, I mean, we do now. I know why Ant-Man was lost. He was in the quantum realm. But what about good old Hawkeye? What did he have? Why couldn't he come? I don't know. This movie's literally all of them doing the biggest battle ever. And how does it end? Well, they actually get everyone return. Like, I love that everyone returns. The sad thing is they killed off Black Widow and Iron Man, but hey, those two, Black Widow, I'm not really worried about Black Widow. I just miss Iron Man, but he had to die. It's how things happen, man. Avengers Endgame is so good. I love this movie a lot. So far, it's my favorite of 2019. Wonder if it's gonna be better than the Rise of Skywalker. Who knows? Well, I hope you agreed enough because that's what I'm doing. So, yep, that's my ranking video. Thanks for watching. I assume you all want me to rank all the other ones. Well, I'm not doing that. No, not doing it. Not doing it. I don't care what you say. I'm not doing it. So, be happy for what it is. Okay? Oh, God.